This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. Look at the beautiful view we have and the beautiful blue skies. It's a fantastic day here in the African bush, and we're just admiring this flowering knobthorn. So, everyone, it's that time of day for your live safari through the African bush. So welcome aboard, everyone. It's a hot day here in Djuma Game Reserve in South Africa. I am just going to tell you the temperatures right now. It is 25 degrees Celsius and 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're very much in spring and summer is on its way. I cannot wait. This entire landscape in front of us is going to change once summer arrives. My name is Lauren. I have Theo on camera today, and we're very excited to see what we can find out here. We are in Djuma, one of 7 different locations that we're going to come to you from today, and I'm sure many of the different feeds will be able to show you different things. Let's just take a look at this knobthorn again. It's a little bit far away, but this is a sign of spring, and every day I just look to appreciate it because it's a very, very short season. Things are going to change very, very soon.
A warm welcome to all our viewers. We are currently here at andBeyond in Ngala, and we're looking at a pack of wild dogs. Now, there's a few of the adults that's gotten up now, and you'll notice there's a few puppies just off to the left. So it's not going to be too long before eventually they'll start getting up and move towards wherever the adults might be. But you can hear just this faint sound of like this high chirp noise from these wild dogs. So I'm Nikki, going to be your ranger for this afternoon, and with me on the camera is Gert. So just to head back towards these wild dogs, so earlier on as we were watching them, the one adult got up, and as it got up, all the youngsters came a bit closer, and so we don't know, maybe it's just them getting a bit restless. They've been here the whole morning until this afternoon, and hopefully if they do start moving, we'll be able to follow them for the next little while. See how those two just grooming one another. And there's another one just left of where these two are that just gotten up. And then, of course, the youngsters that are on a puddle there together, big pile. So there's one of the youngsters getting up. Rosalind, it all depends. Like, there are some records of anywhere from, could be maybe as few as 5, 6, but they can get as many as close to 18, 19 pups in a litter. So this particular litter size here from one female is 11 puppies. And there could have been more. We don't know if they've all made it. But by the age, or seeing them now, so they haven't, it's not that they just, excuse me, left the den, but it could have been that they could have left the den possibly a month or 2 ago, and so we don't know how many there were prior to this.
Jumbo, jumbo, hello everybody, and very well done, Nikki, to get the dogs there with the puppies, and 11 puppies, it's normal for wild dogs, while the lionesses, like you can see one here, the maximum cubs they'll get are 4. She's just posing there looking, and a very warm welcome to our afternoon drive. And my name is David, and on camera is Bungay. Bungay, how are you, sir? Very excited to have all of you on board welcome, welcome. And we're very lucky to start our afternoon drive with Lioness there. It's spitting here in the Masai Mara, but quite warm, 21 degrees Celsius or 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And this particular pride here is called the Olololo Pride. I saw this pride in the morning, and they had two mishunts. They tried first to hunt a topi, which they missed. Then they tried a zebra that aborted. But looking at their bellies, I'm very convinced they must have hunted something. That belly is too big, because they tried to examine them in the morning and they did not look any pregnant. So they must have caught something for themselves. There are four girls. We have that one walking away there. And we got another one on the road. And remember, we are coming to you live. And we are happy when you talk to us. I'm talking of questions or comments. And you may do that by tweeting to us, #WildEarth. And for the children or the youngsters, you can do or use emails, kids@wildearth.tv. That's the other member of that particular pride. I'll just wait here a couple of minutes because I'm sure before long she'll be up and about.
Welcome to a very windy andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, and we've got a female cheetah also quite lazy, sleeping in the shade there. My name is Devalt, and behind the camera we've got Craig, and we actually have a beautiful sunny day, but it is quite windy, and I think we are gonna just sit with this cheetah for a little bit. It's actually a cheetah that Dumi had earlier today in the morning, and she was close to this open area, not far from where she is lying down right now. Remember to send your questions and comment to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, #WildEarth, or use the handle @FC on Twitter. Oh, she is nice and lazy, just like those lions that's on the other side. Head down, and actually can see that she's breathing quite heavily, because even though the wind's blowing, it's a nice and warm day. See the dry grass around her. We are right in the dead of winter. Not always you get to see a cheetah lying down with her head flat like this. Always trying to be quite wary of what's going on around her, but we're just going to wait for now and see what she gets up to.
This is, I think, a very exciting drive for the afternoon, starting with three famous or important predators of Africa: wild dogs, cheetah, and now lionesses. This member of this particular group that we call the Olololo Pride, I expected her to wake up. She hasn't done that, but at least not the way she was before, where she was very flat. Animal Life, you'd like to know how many lions can be in a pride. Now, I'm sure you know the difference between prides and coalitions. A pride consists of a number of females with their youngsters, and the youngsters could be both females or males. A coalition of lions is only males. Now, this particular pride here has about 18 members when they are all together. Coalitions could be anything from 2 males, sometimes up to 6 males. So it would depend. Some prides are very small. We got a particular pride here in the Mara that's called the Mogoro Pride, and another one's called the Paradise Pride, and both of them consist of 2 females each. So it depends, but it's anything from 2 to 18, the largest pride that we have here. And the other one that I know that's big is about 14. Remember, we're coming to you live.
Blue. He's climbing. We've got a tree agama climbing up the tree. This is so incredible. Look at that. I love these creatures, reptiles, because of the kaleidoscope of colours. Look at that bright blue head. It doesn't fit into the African bush, does it? Not really. This is a male. Only the males will have that bright blue head, and it's unmistakable. You can't miss it. And there's another male. There's quite a few here. The females blend in far better into the bark of any tree, actually, than the males do because of this head. And when they're nodding their head, it's quite bizarre. They'll just nod up and down. And this is to attract the females. Hey, ladies, look at me and my bright blue head. I think this one's a male as well. There's two males. I wonder if they're having a territorial clash here, because they are very territorial. But I feel this other one down here is a little bit brighter, more brighter coloured. They'll fight. They'll chase off intruders. Look at him go. He's going straight to where that other one is. And they've got sharp claws, so they can just dig into the bark, the rough texture of any bark, as long as it's not completely smooth, and climb up. And of course they live in trees, hence the name tree agama. Now this is definitely two males. The females do not have that blue coloration. Oh, this is so exciting. What a wonderful spot of the day.
Good afternoon, everyone. Indeed, welcome to the law field in Mpumalanga Djuma Game Reserve, where it's about 27 degrees 77 Fahrenheit, and looking at the leopard lying in a shed. It looks like all cats lying in a shed at this time of it day, and it seems to be still hot for them. And my name's Andrew, and BK behind the camera, so we'll be talking a bit about this leopard this afternoon, see how she does for us. So it looks like, I know this is not a stranger, but Sam, good question. I never get scared. I started these, of me thinking to be a guide. I started to think about this when I was in school, and that I was very young. But of course, I was very much interested of knowing the wild, knowing inside of this reserve what is in here. When I talk about getting close to the elephants or close to one of these cats, what they're talking about. So I started from there, and I was a bit scared when I started, but anyway, I get very comfortable the time I realize this is not really scary, if you know what you're doing out there. So all cats, including elephants, rhino, all of these, big five. Even those crocodile, they're not big five, and hippo as well. So understanding what they do, their behavior, this is what brings back to you that, okay, when you look at the animal that it's reacting differently or difficult or maybe run away from you, then it means maybe it's scared of you, even though you're in a car. So you won't push too much on that animal. You gotta leave it. So now the comfortable zone, it counts, where animal now, it will run and stop because of maybe they see, you're not chasing them anymore. So this is really, I'm not really scared of them.
We're still watching this incredible moment between the tree agamas on this jackalberry. Now, the one with the bright, bright blue head has disappeared out of my line of sight. So this is the other individual. And look, it's got a short tail. There's something happened to this one's tail. Can you believe it? Sassy Cassie, you are asking how many tree agamas are there in the Sabi sands? I'm actually not sure about the Sabi sands, but in South Africa, I believe... I'm actually not sure about tree agamas. I know that this species that we're looking at right now is Acanthocerus atricolus. That's the Latin name of this particular individual that we're looking at. But in terms of the number of species of tree agama, I'm really not sure, Sassy Cassie, I'm afraid. I will have to check that for you. Look at this one. Look how well it blends in. It's only the blue of the head that really, really stands out. Now, normally the coloration on the male has a lot of red on the body as well. Now, I'm wondering if this is a female, because the females can be lightly blue at the head, but nowhere near as bright or magnificent as the males. And I'm wondering if this is what the male is after. And that's why he's nodding his head and moving so furiously. And there he is, completely different. You see that? The blue goes all the way down the spine. Incredible.
Well, it's very interesting when you see the agamas mating, and sometimes when you see the male courting the female with the bright head, or for the rock agamas with the bright red, it's always a very interesting courting dance to watch. Now, my two females have come together. We still have one behind us, behind the vehicle, and I'm seeing like this one here, looking in a particular direction. See how she's panting? It's not very hot. Daniel, that's a very good question at your age, at 8 years old. Daniel, tell you, lions can hunt anything that is the size of its own size, but the largest animals you've seen are lions hunting here, Daniel, are Cape buffaloes. If you see buffaloes, I'm going to show you, but I'm trying to imagine, Daniel, you know how buffalo looks like, or if you think of a bison. So the largest prey that in this particular area, lions hunt are buffaloes. But don't forget, Daniel, they can also hunt other bigger antelopes called elands. They can also hunt giraffes. You imagine, Daniel, the size of a giraffe, the tallest animals we got in the world. So they can hunt elands, buffaloes, and even giraffes. But in general, they'll hunt the animals the size of, I would say, a zebra or a wildebeest. Now, one has gone flat, and we got the other lioness coming from a distance. We shall be waiting for it to come, and we'll see what happens once she comes and joins these two other lionesses.
What a beautiful day in the Lowveld. It's so nice to see the blue skies and of course hear the crunching of the branches made by the elephants, which are feeding behind all those thorns. Hello everybody, my name is Taylor McCurdy and on camera with me today is Odie, and we are here at Pridelands Conservancy, and we found a very big herd of elephants, but hopefully they're going to feed in our direction so that we can get a proper look at them. Shall we have a look at them? Emily, yes, you are indeed correct. African elephants are bigger than Asian elephants, and I have been very fortunate enough to go on safari in Sri Lanka before, so I've actually seen lots and lots of Asian elephants, but they're still really big. So I would say like the average size for a big elephant bull is probably a really big elephant cow here in Africa sort of size. So they're not small, but then even the females, they're not tiny. And I think that people have painted this misconception in our minds that Asian elephants are like dwarf elephants in comparison, but they're not. So there obviously is a much bigger size difference here in Africa. Also, the African elephant's ears are bigger, and then I'm sure when they come out in the open, or maybe you've seen some photos, or you've been watching WildEarth for quite some time, but you would have noticed that most of the elephants in Africa, both male and female, have tusks. But that is a very, very rare thing to see with Asian elephants. Some elephant bulls have got tusks, but it's only just a small percentage. I think it's only about 3% of Asian elephant bulls that actually get tusks. But you can sometimes see these strange things that protrude out of the female's sort of mouths, and they look like tusks, but they're not. They're called tushes. And they actually look very flimsy, and that they could snap off at a moment's notice. So I'm very happy, though. I'm sure you can hear in the tone of my voice that I get to see my favorite animal. Now, for those of you that are sitting here wondering how on earth can these elephants be feeding on all these prickly things, because that's pretty much what has filled your screen at the moment, is the thorns probably from South Africa, we all know these trees as acacias, but the names have indeed changed, but for this purpose, we will be calling them acacias today. But look at them. They grab hold of it, they chuck it straight into their mouth and chomp on down. So I always like to describe the elephant's sort of mouth and trunk a bit like... Sorry, there's an aeroplane going over the top of us. An aeroplane. But we'll talk a little bit more about how tough the elephant's skin is in a bit.
Still sleeping flat cat in its shed. Look at her skin shivering a bit just because of the fly biting on her. And we just drove past that kill she made, and she covered it with a whole bunch of grasses. There's no chance bird of prey or anything can spot that from the air. And it's under little bushes. But it's far from her where she is right now. So I think this is because of there was no nice shadow close by there. And this is far she went just for a shadow. It looks like she's been here probably for a while. And if that's the case, every time she feels hungry, because they get hungry quite often, a few times a day when they had kill. She'll probably go and feed. And when she's done that, she's going to cover it again with grasses. And then if it's still hot, she will probably come to the same spot in this shed. But see how she blend in. If you didn't know that there's a cat around here, obviously you walk right into her. Well, cats, like leopards, during the day, especially she got a kill, she won't move too much. She won't expose to heat because the kill is there, and she's just gonna take it easy until she get hungry and she go feed whenever she feel comfortable with that.
Talking about camouflage and being relaxed, let's look at how well camouflaged these wild dogs are as well, especially in these open areas. Because if you look at the pattern on their coat, you'll see that it has those light browns like the grass around, quite a lot of black like the shade in which they are lying down. And even with the youngsters that are lying down at the bush at the back, unless there's any movement, you can't really see them. So you see the bush right there. Now, basically, where you can see the shadow right in the middle, that's where they're all lying down. You might just now and again see the tail moving up and down. And that's one of the ways we can find wild dogs, or even cheetah. Whenever we do move into an area where the grass is quite tall, it's looking out for any movement that we can see. But look at the tails moving as they're swatting some of the flies away. But it's so interesting to know that with wild dogs, they are very energetic predators. Whenever they get up and move, they can run for long distances, especially within a day. But the problem with them is they are sometimes prone to overheating. So the best would be for them to hunt, especially early part in the morning and later on in the afternoon, and on a full moon night is when they will hunt. But Angie, with the collective name for wild dogs is called a pack of wild dogs. I'm not sure if there'll be a different name, but there's one of the pups moving closer, but we just refer as a pack of wild dogs. So what I want to try and do now, it is a very high frequency that I don't know if we'll be able to pick it up on the camera. But if there's a bit of interaction, I want to be quiet so you can listen to the whining and the high-pitched noises that they often do whenever they interact with one another. What really stands out, especially on this young puppy here, is if you look at the end of the tail, do you notice that very bright white color? Just move to the back. Probably there's some more shade at the back, and there's some other ones we saw as we were moving in. I'm sure that one's just going to go and rest down there. Well, these ones still heads down. Now, between us and those youngsters are most of the adults.
So the elephants are finally coming out of all the prickles. So I suppose I better finish my thought there. I was talking to you about how I like to refer to the toughness of the skin around the trunks and the mouth like a gardener's hands or a landscaper's hands. And if you think about it, if somebody who works in an office all day were to go outside and grab hold of a prickly tree, they're probably going to feel it quite badly. Whereas if I grab hold of a tree, because I've got so many calluses on my hand from chopping wood and doing all sorts of other wonderful things, I won't even feel it. There's the elephant coming closer here. But with this, the same thing kind of goes with the elephants. As they start to get older, they've been eating on lots of different types of vegetation. So they're careful about where they put the thorns in their mouth, because they can still get pricked, but their skin is a lot sort of tougher. Excuse me. Apparently I'm allergic to elephants. Ha ha ha, what a lame joke. But anyways, I'm very happy. I'm just going to watch this one as it's looking at us now. I quite like that shot of this elephant. You can just see half of its face. And also something that you can notice around its eye. Did you see that long stream of liquid? It'll be a bit difficult now if it doesn't turn its head because of the shadows that it's casting. But there is actually a little gland just behind its eye called the temporal gland. You can see it. Look how small it is. And often at this time of the year, we see elephants secreting from it. So it's essentially like an overstimulation of adrenaline. So it can mean a lot of different things. It can show whether an animal is excited, whether they're very stressed, and a number of different things. But at this time of the year, it's obviously winter in South Africa, and in the low veld, the vegetation becomes quite dry and sparse. So it might just be that they're a little bit more hungry than usual.
Jumbo and good afternoon. Welcome back to the Masai Mara, the Mara Triangle. I'm here already at Owino's area. Good afternoon, my name is Isaac. On camera I have Big James. Already we are set out higher in the plains to show you some beautiful animals. So please welcome talk to us on hashtag WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. It's already a very beautiful afternoon, and as you can tell, the animals are very happy. They're enjoying the greenery. Here I have eland and waterbuck. Eland is our largest antelope here in the Masai Mara. Surprisingly, it outweighs the buffalo, but many people tend to argue about that, but record-wise it is slightly heavier. We have a baby boom this time of the year. As you can see, we have some young ones, very new. That one I would give it maybe a day or so. And there the mom is quite close to her. The really dark gray one with a huge dewlap, that is a male. See how big he is. Yeah, he's quite big in comparison to the female. And then the antelope way back is the Fasa. Macy, I didn't hear your question. Please repeat the question again. Could you please repeat the question? What is the hairiest, what is the fluffiest animal in Africa? That's a very interesting question, Nathan. Let me go through my data. My brain is processing very fast right now. The fluffiest in animals. I don't think would get very fluffy as the term fluffy dictates, but maybe the hairiest. I'd give it the hairiest. Which one would it be? That you really got me. Hairiest. A waterbuck will be very hairy. I would say the waterbuck is the most hairiest animal. I don't think we get another much more hairy than that. Well, the climate here in Africa doesn't allow, and especially in the Mara, doesn't allow the animals to get very hairy because it's already hot. So they adapted not to get very hairy, and that is the waterbuck. It's got a very thick coat. The coat is very thick. It's very hairy, so to say. So we don't have as hairy animals as you'd think, because it's very, very hot here.
We actually have lots of waterbuck behind us, but for now, we're giving you a view of all the hippos. They were actually out sunbathing, but sadly, they've decided that there's now people watching them. They're a little bit self-conscious, so they've popped back into the water. And when you see a large animal on the beach and you call it a beached whale, it looks like a beached whale, actually, that's pretty accurate for a hippo. Their closest relatives are essentially the marine mammals, the cetaceans they're called, and they're very closely related to hippos. So it's not too far off when you say that hippos look like a beach whale lying on the beach. They will come out, they will rest, but water during the day is really their domain. They're amphibious. They only ungulate to be amphibious, so they need water. You really won't find a hippo too far away from water. And if you do, then that hippo is most likely in trouble. It's very sensitive, very fine skin, and it needs the water for a multitude of reasons. To rest, spend no energy keeping buoyed up in the water. You're not expending anything, you're just floating, if you like. And also to nourish that skin, which can get really, really dry, especially under the very hot African sun.
How beautiful cat still painting, you know. Look at this beautiful full belly. still young cat, still young female leopard. And she's still staying within her mother's territory. Thandi is the mother. Clement, how far can a leopard run? So they're fast, but for short distance. They can reach up to 80 kilometers, 75, 80 kilometers, but they won't last more than 100-meter distance for that, such a speed. Indeed. And of course, these such a animals, leopard, they're not actually built for a long runner distances, as they build up with full body size, full of muscles, very strong cat. Of course, cheetah, they're the one that they're built for such a speed, but they can't keep running for, let's say, like 1 kilometer in such a massive speed like that. Of course not. And it's same to this animal we're looking at right now. So they can keep such a high speed to catch what they need or to get out of the danger immediately. But then you see how they will paint to show that, they're tired, very tired. And remember, leopard can climb trees as well. But the reason maybe she didn't put that meat up in a tree is because of that she think it's safe and nothing can steal that.
That's correct, Andrew. I mean, the higher the kill will be stashed, the better. And if anything or any animal would come for that kill, would be only vultures. Now, we've got some Masai giraffes here. And these animals, I once saw a giraffe watching a leopard on top of a tree, and that particular leopard had hunted a baby giraffe. And I was feeling the mother was getting connected, to the baby as much. Of course, the baby was dead. And the leopard, huge male leopard, hoisted the baby giraffe all the way up. That giraffe stayed looking at what was used to her baby and the leopard for 3 hours, not moving. The leopard never came down. And the leopard, during the 3 hours was there, was not feeding on that baby. The giraffe looked like it was a statue. It didn't look like real, but she was just frozen there looking at her baby. Kevin, giraffes are not related to cattle. If anything, antelopes, but not really. They're in totally different families. And you hear sometimes us calling them giraffe camelopods. They're not related. If anybody they could be related to would be the camels, but not the cattle and not the antelopes. I would say the closest cousins would be the camels. Look at their long necks, long legs, and also the design of their bodies. Their closest relation would be the camels. In the Masai Mara, Serengeti going down, we got this Masai giraffe. And they'll be going in small little herds as they feed. This particular just paused looking at us. And she was feeding on that particular vegetation there. Giraffes paying browsers. Hello, giraffe. What are you thinking? Giraffes rarely go flat. When you look at our lions, like when I had the 3 lionesses I had before, I left them because they went flat, and I thought, let me move on. But giraffes at least will be doing something, even if not something very active. They'll just stop and maybe stare at you. All right, Giraffe, I'll leave you. Continue feeding, and maybe we'll see you later.
From a tree agama, we now have another reptile in the form of a water monitor lizard. Now, Theo and I actually had an incredible sighting with one the other day, and I wonder, I could be wrong, if this is the same individual. The blacksmith lapwing just dive-bombed it, and I wonder if it possibly went a little bit too close to a nest or eggs, but now it's calmed down. And you can see the monitor lizard is doing exactly what it was doing the other day. It's hungry. It's hunting. They're omnivorous, but more so on the carnivorous side. So we call it hunting. And you see it's tasting. It's got its forked tongue out. It's using the tongue essentially to smell for food. That's why it keeps changing direction. Isn't it stunning? Also got really sharp claws for walking on land, being terrestrial. But it's also got a very powerful tail that can act as a rudder when it's in the water, when it's being aquatic. Did you see that? The blacksmith lapwings are not happy. They're trying to protect something here. These lapwings are very common birds. They're not rare or really anything that many people get excited about, but they're fearless. They will dive bomb predators in the mammal form, in the reptile form, in other birds to protect their nest. Now, in front of us, we've got a family approaching, probably the most relaxed family of warthogs. We've got a mother and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piglets. Oh, we're surrounded by wildlife here on this wonderful afternoon at Chitwa Dam.
That's exactly what we're hoping these elephants are going to do, is to head down to a watering hole to quench their thirst. But I suppose elephants are an animal that resonate with me most because they're constantly eating. Now, we've got a little elephant that's standing in the shadow of Mom. It's very kind of you to protect your little one like that. Also, just like the blacksmith lapwings, will do almost anything to look after their youngsters. But it has found a toy in the form of a stick. Now, it won't have much use of its trunk just yet. We've actually just a moment ago we watched it swing it round like a helicopter, as I'd normally like to describe it. I'm just watching Mom. Every now and then she lifts her head at us, so she's a bit uneasy with us, so we'll just keep an eye on her. But at least she's feeding, so that's good. Miguel, now the question that you've just asked is not as straightforward as, well, you were probably hoping the answer would be. But anyway, so elephants can live for a very, very long time. They're a very big mammal, but they can live for anywhere between 50 and 70 years, and who knows, maybe even a little bit longer. However, their age is not determined by, of course, their maximum age is not determined by their sort of health. Unfortunately, what happens is the elephant's teeth tends to wear down as they get older, and they only get a certain amount of molars for their entire life. So if they start feeding in areas that the vegetation is very dry and quite harsh, as we can see them feeding on now, so when we have times of drought, it's obviously not so great for the elephants. I'm sorry, I might sound a bit distracted just because I'm watching her. You can see how she's got her head raised every now and then. She's a little bit uncertain, but I think we're still fine for now because she's feeding. So what happens is that during really, really dry periods and, droughts that sort of go on for longer than they should, their teeth are going to wear down at a lot quicker rate. Whereas maybe the elephants in East Africa, in Kenya, you might find that they could have a longer lifespan because they predominantly feed on grasses, whereas here the elephants have a much more varied diet, and it's depending what food's available due to the seasons. Are you tired? absolutely exhausted. I've swung my trunk around all afternoon. I tried to play with that stick. Didn't go down so well. Now my little legs are aching. Shame, that's very precious, isn't it? And Mom is so accommodating too. She just stands still and she's like, okay, that's fine. If you're tired, you can have a little siesta. I'll kind of just move around in circles around you. Hello, precious. No, don't go in between Mom's back legs, because now she can't go backwards. I think she'll probably just step forwards. As big as what elephants are, don't worry. They're absolutely gentle giants most of the time. And of course, she's not going to do anything to hurt her little one on purpose. Are you just having the best day ever? It's like watching children. I know I'm anthropomorphizing right now, but I don't really mind doing it, especially with little elephants. Like this one just reminds me of, this is probably me as a kid in the sand pit. Don't go in the sand pit, you're going to get dirty or the mud, and then off I go. And then, of course, going to roll around in it. Look how sweet it is. It's okay, girl. It's okay, you can relax. We're just here to watch. I do talk to a lot of the elephants in particular, but they can really understand and get a feeling for your tone. And I think when you are calm and collected, and if an elephant is often annoyed and agitated, then, yeah. Hello, sorry, I can't look at the camera right now. The most important thing, of course, when you are with animals and with elephants, is that you need to keep an eye on them. And we're quite a close distance. The whole herd has approached us, so I feel quite happy with it. But the most important thing is that you watch what the animals are doing. So now we've got a couple of bulls coming quite close to this elephant cow. And maybe she's not agitated with us. Perhaps she's actually agitated with the elephant bulls, and that they might be getting too close. And when they're this age and almost on their way to being pushed out of the herd, they can be a bit of a problem.
I hope, Taylor, you enjoy the company of elephants all around you, and wonderful to see a baby elephant. And I got baby giraffe myself. Now, the giraffes I saw earlier are about 1 kilometer away from these babies. And my guess is the mother was not there. Sometimes back, we had a small debate with my colleagues, and we were discussing which are the most careless mothers out in the wilderness. And we had a consensus that the giraffes, female giraffes, are the most, I would say, careless mothers. I don't know how true is that, because I'm looking around and I'm not seeing any adult giraffes close here. And that would make these babies very vulnerable. Like the lionesses I had before, they're not more than 5 kilometers from where I am now. Now, if Bunge, you allow me, and you pan down all the way to the big trees down there, so like the giraffes I can see close to here, and that's almost 1 kilometer away in the background. I'm not sure whether that might justify our school of thought that giraffe mothers may be a little bit careless, because I'm imagining those could be the mothers, or that could be the mother there, because the other one is a Neyland. That could be maybe one of the mothers of these two youngsters here, and that's a long way from where they are. Because should a predator come for these two calves here, it will be very easy to bring them down. Now, see, as the camera is moving back to these babies, the distance apart. So by the time the mother runs here, these babies will be gone. And I'm imagining they are of two different mothers. I don't remember seeing a female giraffe with two babies or twins. So whatever the mothers are, my guess that was one, and then there's another mother elsewhere. Well, good luck, and make sure those lions don't come for you.
We have been sitting with this female cheetah for quite a while, and she actually sat up and looked past us, and we thought she may have spotted something. She's positioned herself pretty well. You can see she's quite happy. The fact that she's actually lying down flat like this with her head and everything, she's quite happy. Oh, something bit on her ear there. So quite aware of what's going on around her. You can see how she's listening around with her ears. And even though she sleeps and her head goes down there, you can see her eyes closing. Every now and then she'll pick her head up and just look around her, and all the grass around this area is very short, so she can see all around her. Look at that. Just dozing off. She's nice and out of the, I think, just out of the wind there where she is. Not enjoying me laughing at her. JJ, you are asking how many cubs can a cheetah have? So JJ, usually cheetahs have between 3 to 4 around there, but there is some cases where female cheetahs can have up to 6 cubs. Quite interesting. In the north of the reserve on Phinda, there was actually a female cheetah that gave birth to 6 cubs this year as well. Very, very cool to just imagine seeing 6 little cubs with a female cheetah. And talking about that, this female actually sat up a little bit earlier and just saw her stomach like hanging quite low, and it doesn't look like she's eaten recently, and I wonder if she is maybe pregnant. And it will be interesting to see within the next 3 or so months to see how many young cubs will come out with this female. Oh, look how she's actually falling asleep again. Look. Her head actually falling backwards a bit. She's really gone into almost a comatose state. Oh, there, she's just picked her head up again. It's almost like when someone falls asleep in the car and the head like falls around. Her eyes again closing. Look at that. As soon as she closes her eyes, her head just goes down a little bit. But like I said, she's right here in this big open area. See all on her when she.
Jumbo, and here we are. I have a very big female walking down the road. She's coming towards me. Looks very, very healthy. I don't know if she's pregnant or not, and which pride she's from. I cannot tell you right now. Let me see her when she gets closer. Remember, I'm coming to you live from the Masai Mara, in the Mara Triangle in East Africa. I just came along her. She's just walking down the road. They don't like water, and it's been raining, and so she loves to walk on the road, which is very, very much welcome. Look at how big she is. She looks like she's belly full, and she's been eating something, looks like it. She's just gonna come and pass the vehicle. Yeah, quite soon she's gonna be passing the vehicle. Right there she comes. Looks like she's very, very, I would say pregnant. She looks like she's pregnant. There she goes. Yeah, she was there and now she's gone. What a beauty. See how healthy she was? See how big she was? Well, on behalf of everybody, my fellow colleagues, my directors, I would say I'll see you later. Later on, I'll see you.
With the word cat still flat, and so that everyone we have joined by another vehicle here So there's 2 vehicles, so don't be so surprised when you hear kind of a talking on the far side, on the background. They're viewing the same animal. You know, since we got here, she only, put her head up just to see that car coming in, and again, she just went flat. So I was hoping probably, or maybe she will move back to that kill to feed a little bit while we're around, but it doesn't look like for now. And we're not sure when last she drank water. And the water from here, it's not far away. So she's just on the eastern side of one of the dams. It's called Tswalu Kalahari Dam in this area. And she's not even bothered looking up, because usually when a leopard have a kill, they're worried about the bird of prey flying up in the air, such as a vulture sometimes. These are the birds that are scavengers. But if they don't scavenge this bird, then they attract a lot of other big cats, such as lions, as well as a hyena. If a hyena around here, they're definitely going to be interested on, finding out what these vultures are circling around out there for. So, but it looks like since we're here, there's no single vulture flying around. And she is comfortable resting. You can only tell by the tummy that it's a little expand, just because she probably ate a little bit just before we found her here. Remember, feeding cats like leopard, they don't eat only once a day, but continually. So could be maybe for 4 times a day, 3 times. It depends on how that leopard is doing. But also feeding, they take time, because going through the flesh itself, they have to pluck the fur off the kill or the skin. Not all of them, but of course, most of the antelope, they hairy, coat, but they don't do like lions or dogs or a hyena. Those are ferocious, but leopards, they feed comfortably. Again, when they have cubs, they don't compete with them. They don't compete. They take turns. For example, if she take the cubs to show where the meat is. She teach them by going into the area exactly where she know the kill is there, but she will go lie down for them to able to locate the kill of themselves.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tswalu Kalahari. My name is Moritz, and behind the camera we've got David. I don't know if you can see. Oh, you can actually. Have a look at this little guy. A beautiful little, I know it's going to sound a little funny when I say it now, but a ground agama. So he just hopped into the tree when we found him. But typically these guys operate on the ground. So we've got 2 types of agama here at Tswalu. We've got the ground agama and then the rock agama. And then in the low veld you'll find the tree agama being a bit more abundant. We don't really see them over here. But typical about the ground agama is that reddish brown coloration, which, as you can see from the background, blends in perfectly with their surroundings, especially when they are on the ground as well. These guys will be burrowing to make little, hiding spots and places for them to rest. But yeah, just very cool to have spot that. I can't take the credit. That was David's eagle eye that got that. But really, really cool to be able to see these little oaks. They are a bit smaller than the tree agamas that you'd find in the low veld. If you have seen the tree agamas, they are a little bit more grey in color, especially the females, and then during mating season, or when a male wants to mate, he turns that beautiful yellowish blue coloration around the neck and head area. So really, really cool. However, these guys are a little bit more unicolored almost. They do have little patches of almost not white, but almost a yellowish coloration on top of their body. I know we can't see the top of their body right now. We're looking mostly at the throat and in their face, but it's really cool to see them. Vicky just had a question. Are all lizards or agamas able to grow their tails back? Vicky, no, they can't. Not all of them are able to do that. So it's typically your geckos and your skinks that are able to do that. The agamas, I have seen some of them doing that. So the agamas also have sort of the ability to do that, but it's typically your geckos and your skinks, the smaller ones, the ones that don't move as fast, that have that ability to lose their tail and then grow it back later on as a way of defending themselves. As a matter of fact, I haven't actually, and don't quote me on this because this is just what I've seen. I haven't seen agamas growing their tail back now that I'm thinking about it. But it's very possible that they can. But absolutely not all lizards can do that. So if you think about the rock monitor and so on, they don't lose their tails. They use their tails more as a defense mechanism to hit, like with a whip, and also to bite to defend themselves. So they don't have that ability to regrow their tails. I'll actually go and have a look and make sure for you, as far as the agamas are concerned, what is going on there, and whether they can grow their tail back or not.
Well, we have a bird here, and she just disappeared. Yes, right there. And I would also guess if she would get a chance to eat the agamas, she would do the same. And this is the black-bellied bustard. Notice how quietly she walks. Very shy birds. Most of the bustards of this size, the bigger bustards like the Denhams or the Cory bustards, are more courageous to come out of the grass. But the white-bellied or the black-bellied bustards tend to remain in the grass, being shy. See how colorful he is. I'm thinking this could be the male and the female. Slowly weaving through the grass, looking for some early dinner. Most bustards are omnivores. Grasshoppers, rodents, small insects to the catch, beetles. Well done. How beautiful are you? They also eat some seeds. Very good. Speak of the devil. Sometimes they eat some grass blades. They eat small fruits or some sort of berries. Very majestic. So I've got something there. What have you got for yourself? Sabi at 8 years, in the Masai Mara, where like that bastard is walking, all that is soil. And the main soil here is what we call the black cotton soil. So that's why you can see he is very comfortable while walking because it is soft on the ground. But of course, there's some grass that is growing, which just pads the ground for him as he walks feeding. But see, we also got certain areas within the Masai Mara that are rocky, different habitats. And we also got some cliffs. But where we are now, it's just some plain ground with a lot of black cotton soil. You see these birds in general being solitary, but once in a while, you'll see them as a pair, a male and a female. I just need to leave the bustard here feeding. And when I was young, I used to call these birds baby ostriches, but they are not.
The wild dogs haven't moved at all from the last time we saw them. We just repositioned to see if there's some other members of the pack around, and there's a few that are lying down more towards us, but you can't really see them because of the tall grass. However, the thing about wild dogs is if there is any impala or if there are any other animals that are moving into the area, the chances are it could be within a split second that they will get up and start moving. Now, there are impalas in the back. Now, we can't see them through the trees here, but early on, as we were repositioning, we could see them not too far away from here. So the wind is in the impala's favor, not in the wild dogs. But because it is cooling down, you just never know. They've been lying here the whole day. They are getting more and more restless. You'll see them turning around onto their backs. Now and again, you'll see a leg up in the air as the one turns. But hopefully not too long before they would eventually start moving. Now, that's the thing, is we've been sitting here for most of the afternoon. And the thing is, the more time we spend, the more chances we're going to be rewarded with something really special. So we'll have to give it a go and just see what's going to happen. But for now, they're not looking like they're doing too much, but we'll just have to spend some time. Rin, there are two leaders within this pack. So the alpha male, alpha female. So they'll be the ones that are leading the pack. Also, if there's a hunt, it might be them, or it could be some of the older members of that pack that will initiate the hunt. And normally how they do that is, so even if there's impala, they're not afraid to run into the open towards the impala, but only once the animals start moving away is when they will actually run at their at quite a fast pace in order to catch or single out a particular prey. But it's normally the adults or the more experienced ones that will lock onto a particular prey species, and then the others will follow that animal. Sometimes if it's a big herd of impala, and there's a lot of wild dogs, you might find that as the herd splits, that 2 or 3 dogs might head off to different individuals within that herd, and the others will follow them until, of course, they make a kill. And there's a few wild dogs here. Earlier on we tried to count the number of adults, and we counted at least 11. So because they're so spread and like some of them still lying down in the grass, it'd be interesting to see if all of them get up, how many would there be? There's one that just got up at the back. So let's see what happens, because if one gets up, you'll see all the other wild dogs will start picking up their heads just to see what is this one doing. And it might be that he just gets up, goes and patrols the area to see if everything's still right, and then eventually come back. Angie, as it stands, they don't. We've been trying to find out, especially we've asked one of our specialists that does quite a lot of research, especially on wild dogs within this greater area. And we're still waiting on an answer to see if there's some of the individuals that he would recognize. But from my side, personally, I'm not too sure which members of the pack would be. I know one of the packs that we often see, especially on Ngala, the alpha female, or one of the females, is missing half her tail. So that's easy to distinguish, like if there's that individual, and then we know, okay, that might be that pack. However, with these ones, I haven't seen that yet. But also, to be honest, I haven't spent too much time, especially with adults. It's only the babies, the puppies that we saw for a little while. And then the other times, all the adults weren't here with them. So the best would be if we spend some time. Hopefully, we'll be able to just see the individuals and be able to identify them from there. But you never know. I mean, with this greater area, sometimes you might find where some of the younger ones will join up from another pack, or it could be a brand new pack that we don't even know about. So
tell me if she doesn't up.
Back with our cats. I only see grasses, just because the wind is now picking up a little bit. But she once put her head up, but this is when she was changing the position. Look, I only see the ears twitching, but because even when they sleep unconscious, so they don't sleep like we do. And most animals, they will do the same. If it's ever anything that move around here, they will hear it. As you can see, these ears, even though the head is down, but you see the ears goes like a satellite, it goes back or maybe forth, and straight up. So the ears inside of it's full of hair, long hair that it defend air not to go into the air hole, so that there's no mishearing all the time. Even when it's too much wind sometimes, and they don't have a problem with hearing. But she's still painting once again that it's because of being so much hot, and she just eaten. Look at that. Leopard mainly know enough putting their kill up in a tree, but maybe not all of them does that. Some, they have a lot of experience of how they hide their kill. The only problem is that when a kill comes to very much bring a lot of a smell, and if it's few days old, this is when now whatever she does, covered with grasses or anything, that smell will expose, will go everywhere, and eventually it will get stolen. So, but they do put up in a tree. A fully grown impala like that, what I saw back there. And it will be brilliant size for her. If she would put up in a tree, then it will last there for a few days, maybe 3 days, full grown impala like that. And they don't really share. So, especially she's independent right now, but she won't really appreciate either father or mother coming to feed. Nigal. How long do the leopard live for? So, in a wild, seen leopard live up to about 14. That was the longest leopard I've ever seen reach that far in terms of survival. And this was actually a long time ago. I still remember even the name of that leopard we used to call White Cloth. But long time ago she died. So she died over age, and she was killed by another male, because then I think she comes aggressive. So they can reach up to 14, 15 years if there's some more, especially female. But males, they tend to die just before age of 12 or maybe 13 because of challenge they come across, a lot of fight, trying to defend their own territory. But that case, then, they have a lot of, they have to make sure each leopard in the area, being a dominant, you've got to have to reactivate the scent, your boundary, because this is the communications to stop arrival, to stop who doesn't know you're there. And all territorial animals, they got to do the same. But even though they do that, they still have a lot of challenge where strong male will come in, challenge to claim that territory And to claim it, it's about a fight. And the fighting usually, one get out, injury, get out, maybe the eye is blown up because of when they fight, they use this claws they got. And the fight continues sometimes for all day and push one another that way. They take a rest, but if you're there, you would have a growl from that position and other position until there is a fight again and over and over. But that's how it happens. Pretty wind blowing up here.
That's right. I mean, Andrew, you're correct. There's a big difference of having animals in captivity and having them out here in the wild. Like earlier, I had some giraffes, and giraffes will go about, 25 years or so? I mean, in the wild, but in captivity, giraffes have been recorded to go almost 30 plus years. In Kenya, ideally, we always have all the animals living naturally on their own. And should anything happen, for example, to any animal where, human interference has not been involved, we'll always let the animals be on their own or just to heal or recover on their own. But should humans, or should there be a human-wildlife conflict where we get sometimes, people snaring animals using cables or using spears, then we'll always involve the vets to come and help or rescue those who would be animals hurt. The cables of the snares could be on their necks and sometimes on their legs. And then the vets will come, cut the cables, maybe treat those animals for a couple of days and let them go. Now, in this particular area today, there was a leopard that was spotted, and this is very close to an area that we call the marsh area. And that leopard that was spotted this morning is called Romy. It's a female leopardess called Romy, and is what I'm trying to look for. I've been seeing so many impalas here, and their body language says, all looks good, nothing to worry, as much as sometimes we come and we get, there could be a predator and maybe the prey are not aware and they're just feeding as usual. So I want to chance on that leopardess in this area, but as I do that, I want to show you the impalas I'm talking about, and sometimes just then at 8 years, as I show you these impalas here, just hold them for a minute. Up there, good. Okay, now what happens out here in the bush, we normally don't attack the animals, and if they happen to be uncomfortable by our presence, we have learned either to be quiet, number one. Number two, we reduce our body language or our body movement. If, for example, I'm moving a lot, turning my head or my body or my hands, I stay still. And then number three, should I also notice the animals continue being uncomfortable with me, be it a leopard, be it a cheetah, be it a rhino, whatever animal it is, then what I do, we usually start off the vehicle and we pull back to maybe another 5-10 meters away. Finally, should the animal still show signs of being aggressive or trigger signs of being like, I want to attack, I'm not very happy with you, we pull off and we drive away. Not with animals like this, not with impalas. Impalas, peaceful, quiet. Daniel, the altitude of the Mara we are talking of about 5,000 feet above sea level. or 2,000 meters. And you will notice there are certain animals we see on the very highest, when you talk of that altitude of 5,000, and we see the animals that will not go that high. But ideally, depending on where the food is, most of the animals will be there. So regardless of the altitude, the only thing that may affect the movement of the animals is either safety or food. If they have no food, maybe on very high mountains, they will not go. And if the high mountains have lots of thickets or forest and they cannot see themselves very well, like these impalas, they'll always avoid such areas. Now, if you look at impalas many times, that is the farthest they'll go to the thickets. They're in between there. Then they come out because impalas, we call them mixed feeders. So they'll browse at one time and they'll graze the other time. And if you look carefully here, this is like what I would call a breeding herd of impalas or girls, but I'm sure there could be a male somewhere. And from their body language, looks good. You remember I was telling you the times when you look at the animal's behavior, sometimes they lead away or they give us an idea if there could be a predator nearby. Either when they alarm or when you see them being very nervous. But look at these females here. Everything just looks fine. The grass is quite lush here if you look carefully. Green, and I would say quite nutritious. So every few minutes of eating, but also look up, watch, and listen. Then heads down, more grass, moving on, churning the soils with their hooves. Sometimes they drop their poo there as manure. Rains come, that's the grass they get. Now these impalas are not helping me with my search of Romy, the leopardess, and I'll move on to a different area.
I really hope he gets that leopard. But talking about impala, for wild dogs, that's one of their many prey species that they will probably go for, especially with a pack this big. So often they'll, especially if there's a herd of impala around, that's when they'll go specifically for the herd. But there's one now that's picked up its head, but you'll see every time one picks up its head, all the others will quickly look. This one is all the way to the side here. Now, it's hard to see because of the way that it's lying down. It hasn't really gotten up yet. See if it's a youngster, maybe an oldish one. Now, based on the scars that I saw around the face, it does look like it might be an old individual. Male or female? I'm not too sure. So we'll have to give it a bit of time. But you can see the flies are really bugging this one. It looks like there's a youngster that's gotten up now. Just giving itself a nice, good stretch. And might have just gone and lied down again. Oh, it's just gotten up now. Now what I'm hoping for is, especially with the youngsters, if they do get up, as soon as I said that, that one just flopped down again. So let's not say anything, and then hopefully they'll get up and start moving. But that's the thing about these wild dogs is, I mean, they do have a lot of patience, but they're also they are very energetic predators, and they will move quite a fair distance whenever they do move. But as we mentioned earlier, for them it's all about conserving as much energy as possible. And for them, because they run so quickly, and often it's such a big chase whenever they do hunt, they can easily overheat, especially in the heat of the day. Now, it is cooling down. We're still sitting here without jackets, but from here going forward, as soon as it cools down even more, there's a chance they might move. I mean, there's one that just gotten up now. Now, let's see. Maybe... Does it look like that one has half a tail? Might be that pack that we were talking about earlier. lava rocks. I think my favorite thing about wild dogs is how the adults will look after the caretakers as well as the pups. Now, there is one, what I've seen before, especially with... So we're going to do, before I carry on, let's quickly head across...
Get this tracks in, okay? So, all right, guys, we're back with this. I don't know, for those of you who joined us on Sunday afternoon, it was the first time we actually found these little munchkins, tiny, tiny cheetah cubs. For those of you only watching today or only seeing this today, we've got a female cheetah with 3 of the smallest cubs that I've ever seen. They're probably oldest about a week old. Mom is very, very good at keeping them hidden. We've just arrived on the spot where we left them last. Kept our distance, and we're going to try not to move too much. Maybe they move a little bit. Last time we were with them, they got quite curious and they actually came out. So we're just going to see here, but obviously not going too close to the den side. We never want to disturb that. But yeah, just epic to have seen them again, and that all 3 of them are still doing well. You know, at this early stage of their life, they are very vulnerable. So it's great that Mom is hiding them so well. Little balls of fluff. I just love them. This is such a treat. It seems like it's baby season all over, you know, wild dog puppies on the one side, cheetah cubs on the other. We're very, very happy to do that.
How incredible was it just to get a little glimpse of a cheetah cub? That is so special to see. Now, just to finish that story about what are some of the things that I really enjoy about a wild dog is, for me, it's all about how they take care of one another. Now, I have seen with the pack before, especially with injured individuals, how even though they can't keep up with the pack, is how the pack will eventually go and kill something, bring back whatever food they have, of course, and regurgitate, and they'll be able to feed. But so let's say with this pack here, what I would enjoy is like when some of the adults will go out hunting, they'll leave the youngsters here and there'll be 1 or 2 or 3 caretakers. The pack will then make a kill, and when they come back, they will not just feed the pups, but they will also feed those adults that were looking after the youngsters. And they do have a very advanced social structure, but I think that's probably one of the main things. And then, of course, their whole interaction with one another and their color. That beautiful wash of brown combined with that dark, shadowish color, and then that white tip at the end of the tail. Look at this one here, and also those round cup-like ears. The one thing that I can say, though, about wild dogs, especially if you are near them, you can definitely smell them. And the other day, they crossed the road. We were driving down there. We didn't know the wild dogs went past. And as we were driving, before we even saw the tracks, we could smell them. And that probably would have been already 5 to 10 minutes after they've crossed over where the road was. Angela, it normally happens. I mean, there's still there's a lot of questions in that regard, and I'm sure there's still a lot of research trying to establish the social structure within a pack, and it will be different from one area to another. But from what I've seen and also from what I've read, and I'd like some of the viewers, if you can contribute to this as well, is that so often the adults or some of the more senior dogs within that pack will take over that position. It all depends on which individual. I mean, let's say if the alpha male was killed, possibly by a lion, then possibly the next strongest, most experienced male will fall into that position. Or it could even be a male that have joined from another pack that has moved in and probably accepted recently, and he could eventually turn into the more dominant male. And vice versa with the females. I think the one thing that's, I mean, for me, it's still a bit of a mystery. Is I know with hyenas, it's almost like you are born with, as a certain status within the clan. And of course, the females outrank the males, but with wild dogs, it's the dominant male and female that outranks the rest. But then, of course, if they move out, it will be the more experienced ones that eventually move into those positions to lead the rest of the pack.
We have a hornbill. Banana bird. We're not having too much luck elsewhere, I'm afraid. We spent a long time looking for Sebwig's mum and dad. I was really wanting to catch up with our spotted eagle owls, but no such luck. But we have got a gorgeous hornbill. An itchy hornbill. Oh, I feel itchy just watching this bird itch. Oh, no, it's not a yellow-billed. Sorry. My apologies. It's a red-billed. Thank you for zooming in, Theo. They are very similar, of course, but the yellow-billed has a much larger bill. Yes, it is yellow, of course, but it's very, very large in comparison to the red bills. But otherwise, they're very similar. And their diets are slightly different as well. Not completely, but for this red-billed here, it mostly feasts on insects, crawling on the ground. So by perching up high like this, they use their eyesight to see what's moving on the ground below. But they will also opt for seeds and fruits. Got to get that digestion moving, of course. And for the yellow-billed, they tend to go for slightly bigger insects, marginally, and they are known to eat small, small animals as well as small reptiles like your geckos. I'm having a really good scratch today. You can see the difference here in the feathers on the chest, the down feathers. They're much smaller and lighter, providing insulation for the bird. Oh, this bird looks extremely grumpy, don't you? I hope you get some food soon, Mr. Hornbill.
Well, hornbills are always interesting birds to watch. And we come to another feathered friend here in the Masai Mara. And I'm asking, who do you think this is? Hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Who do you think this is? I'll give you a clue very quickly. It is an eagle, but what eagle is this? What eagle do you think this is? Look at her carefully. Look at the hooked beak. I'm sure you'll be able to know who you think this is. Hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Who do you think this is? Again, a bit of spitting here, but I would say so far so good. Michelle, you have said it's a snake eagle, and I don't know why I should not agree with you. And then, Michelle, maybe we can add and say it's black-chested snake eagle, Michelle. And I would say, well done, Michelle. I would say this is the black-chested snake eagle. Not sure what's snake. Should be waiting for there. But all sorts of snakes they get, they'll catch. But not only snakes, they'll also get other small mammals, rats, mice, smaller birds, like is typical of many raptors. I was trying to look behind. Tegan, you get 105%. And you said black-chested snake eagle. Very well done, Tegan. Excellent. Snake eagle was correct. Black-chested snake eagle is even better. Very good. Now, I want to take a particular angle that's not facing the storm. It's pitting where I am, but I want to take a direction that I'm not going to meet the wall of the rain and maybe do more budding. All right.
To a beautiful cat. Kalamba is back. She's back on the kill right now, so she's busy feeding right now. As you can see, we're talking about how they take it easy when they have feed already, so that they digest. But it comes to the time that they comes hungry again, for them to return back to that meat, repeatedly eating. Can actually able to hear it's going through some of the bone there. It is such a beautiful face cat. Look at that. She was just trying to see how safe it is. Look at that. The little bone that she picked up. It's going to crunch that. It's going to swallow the whole thing. Look at his eye. Sorry guys, is that car still around here with us? If you hear that starting. Ruth, it does attract most of the other scavengers if they smells too much. But this specific animal, leopard, that we see right here, they have a unique way of how do they deal with meat like this on the ground. So we've seen that it was been covered up, as you can see right in front of her, it's still some grasses. And now you look at the whole meat, it's been covered with the grass. So what she does, since she killed it this morning, or whether it was probably early this morning she made that kill, she's been dealing with meat not to disturb intestine, because that's where now the smell is going to go everywhere. And that, for sure, she knew that. She learned from her mother, since she's been raised up from her mother like that. To eat for them, they need to avoid intestine, not to explode that, because then that it's going to be eventually attract a lot of hyenas, eventually lions, vultures will get into this spot. Then she lost that kill, or probably been surrounded, even knows then she had a time to pull that meat up in a tree, but maybe then it's going to be a lot of hyenas underneath. But hyena, they are actually very good on hunting also. They can wander around during the night, and once they pick up scent of where there's a blood or anything or scent of leopard. Look at this claw, because she's now grabbing, holding on as she feed. You can able to see these claws are actually tracked out there. So once hyena get into this scene here, we're probably going to take it away, the whole meat. Single hyena can take this meat from her right away, easily. Because hyena, they're a powerful animal. They do a lot of fight with big leopard. But eventually they win a kill right away like that. So I think we downwind that animal right now, but I don't actually smell anything. Not even a blood or so. Is nothing been disturbed except for the flesh that has been opened. Of course, that won't bring a lot of smell, the flesh itself. Checking out for safety. She knew that anything could happen anytime. That's why she done that. She covered it up with grass. Alyssa, I seen a leopard like this size manage antelope like that, putting up in a tree. It could be that maybe it's far too heavy, or maybe she don't physically hosting kill up in a tree at all. It happened. But of course, if that's the case and it's too heavy, what they do is, so they separate the content, the whole content out of the animal, and they drag the whole meat. Then it's less lighter. They can able to do that. If she were really interested on doing that, I think she would have done it already. So she didn't want to do that. That's why she feed on the ground. They learn to hunt so young, leopard, because of the way how they, when every time the mother left them in a den, this is when they get out and hunt while the mom's not around.
So a few of the pups have gotten up now, moved behind that little tree. So if you give it some time, you'll see there's a tail wagging behind the tree. Hopefully they'll move out. There's a few of them around at the back now. So let's see. It is cooling down. It's going to be amazing to see them in this light. Like that leopard. See, they are getting restless. A few yawns, bit of a back screw or neck scratch. Looks like one of the adults at the back quickly picked up its head and pricked its ears forward. Might be that it was just a bird flying up out of the grass. And remember that earlier on I said those impala were down in that direction. So we just don't know. Gonna have to just see if he loses. Oh, looks like it might have lost a little bit of. Angie, with the wild dogs, especially with some of the adults, like they don't, or like if they do make a kill and they regurgitate all of it, then I'm sure they'll probably feel quite hungry afterwards. But if it's only like depending on, of course, the amount of adults that we're able to feed, if they can evenly spread it and let's say all the puppies had their fill and there's still a bit left, then I'm sure they won't be as hungry, but there'll still be an empty spot for them to hunt again. But with having so many pups around, I can imagine there's a constant urge to go and hunt in order to feed not just themselves, but all the mouths that are here. So look at the light, especially from where we are now, just slightly to the right of it. There's a few that have moved into the patch of sun. Of course, these two, does it look like two playing there? But right there, you'll notice that especially when they do stand up in the sun, just the colors of these wild dogs. See those having a bit of a play.
Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Just in front of us right here, we have a very beautiful owlet. So this African barred owlet. What a beautiful sight this afternoon. Ladies and gents, my name is Norman Chauke. Welcome to Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy. Just a little bit on the right. It's actually very unusual to see, like, owls, special around this time. But since we're in the bush, anything is possible. Normal, these guys are active, or owls in general are active at night. But a small guy like this, they tend to be more active during the day, and reason for such, they get out competed by much bigger owls, such as spotted eagle owl, Vero's eagle owl. So this also a chance for them to feed on something or to catch something, so they can actually have a meal. It's still quite a little bit chilly and windy this side of the country, or of the bush. Yeah, owls are actually one of my favorite animals now, because the African tribes, all the superstitions around owls and other birds, snakes, particularly owls. So I remember growing up, if you see something like this, you run quickly back home because you have seen something that we believed that they bring bad luck, or you lose a family member within the family. But you know what? Since I went and I did my course and did some research on these beautiful, unique animals or birds, Since I learned so much about them, I don't have any problem being around them. I know their value within our ecosystem, which, which is I find very, very unique and awesome.
Beautiful. Back again to our beautiful female leopard, young female leopard. Since she started to feed, she hasn't stopped. You can see some of the ribs showing up already. She already done quite a bit. From where she was lying down, maybe I thought she gonna go down to drink, which she didn't. Maybe she went. On her way back, she lay down in a shade to relax. And the second step she made was coming to this kill. Now busy feeding on it. Of course, a lot of that time they lost their kill because of this, what happened here. Putting that kill on the ground. So, understand that was a hell of a swallow, that whole chunk. So guys, feel free. This is WildEarth, and it's live right on you. Sorry, I just couldn't pick up the name there, but I understand the question is that the leopard could kill the hyena, but just repeat the name. Leopard print. I seen that happen only once during this kind of work I'm doing. I seen a leopard, it was a huge male, eventually kill the hyena, but never again. So it's seldom to see that happen. A lot of time, the hyena kill this cat because, of course, they're so a lot stronger, these hyena. But that it happened that male leopard was so huge and that hyena was always drag its kill away from him. So, but of course he fight it and managed to suffocate that hyena to death. But it's not always something that you see, right? It's not. It's very rare. Remember this, everyone. This is yours. WildEarth live right here. You can bring in a question that you want to know about this specific cat. We already talked about that a little bit. You can bring this question to hashtag WildEarth on YouTube, on Twitter as well. That would be so cool.
We've come across two sub-adult lionesses, and they've both stopped in the road here, but the other one has now gone around to the other side, and this one is now just waiting, and I think they are stalking something up ahead. She's just sat down right in the road, and the other young lioness has gone around the thicket to the right-hand side. So we're just waiting to see what happens, and I think this other lioness is going around to see if she can chase whatever is in front towards the one that we've got in the road here. So two young lionesses, and they were looking very, very skinny when we were following them just now. So they are super hungry, it seems. She's actually settling down, putting her bum down on the ground, just getting a bit more comfortable. I'm gonna see if I can see something with the binoculars around the corner there. Can't see anything now, but both of them are walking at quite a steady pace, and then all of a sudden, they both just stopped. Oh, look at her ears pointing up. Okay, she's up. Okay, let's see what happens. Gonna just keep the vehicle here for now. Oh, look how she's listening forward. Whatever she's looking at is obviously moving. Otherwise she wouldn't have moved. She's maybe listening to where the other lioness has gone. Yeah, look how it grabs her attention every now and then. Okay, she's settling down. I think let's creep. For now, let's actually settle down here. Because we've got a view of her on the road there. And I'm quite scared that if we go closer, we might chase whatever the other lioness is stalking. But for now, I think Craig and I are just going to sit here and wait and see what happens.
Well, the best thing is just to stay put where you are, just like me this morning when I saw those lionesses that were trying to hunt, though they're not very successful. Now, I'm imagining that lioness, if it was here, is a very good potential for some food, as much as I don't want to say that to this very young, tiny calf of a buffalo. But you see the mother is keeping very close guard. She looks so young. And I'm looking at the hind legs, like spread out to try and get some good balance. It's like she's traveling a bit to walk in the long grass there. This buffalo's flicking their ears. Not sure they're getting uncomfortable with any flies. Even in it rains, we get so many flies coming. But I hope the ox pickers should be helping them get the flies out, as they also feed from the blood of these buffaloes. The baby and the mother don't have a very good angle for me, because at one point I thought the calf was suckling. Maybe I was wrong. See how she's surrounded by like 3 cows there. And of course, one close to us looks like a male. Once these babies are this tiny, they do not take any chances. The ox pickers becoming quite loud. So what I want to do, I want to take a long loop and go back to the lionesses that I saw earlier, just in case they would have been planning to make a kill for themselves.
So those wild dogs have moved from when we last saw them. So you can see they've all scattered across right in front of us here. You might notice some off to the right, there's some off to the left, but a few around at the moment. And they are getting more and more restless. Now in this view, I'm going to try and count all the wild dogs, including the puppies. I could already count like 18 just right in front of us. So now, let's see, there's some that are still lying down in the grass. There's another one coming in from the right. That's possibly going to come and join up with them. So, have a look at this. So what we want to do is we don't want them to get too close to the vehicle and get too comfortable with the vehicle being around. But what we'll do is if the youngsters do move closer, we might just move slightly back to give them a bit of space.
Alrighty guys, there's a sighting that you don't see in the Kalahari that often. You know, with it being so dry, and not a lot of fruit and all of those things available. We don't have a lot of primates in this area. As a matter of fact, we only have the baboons as far as monkeys are concerned. This is Chacma baboons, and it's quite a pleasant surprise to come around the corner and have a trip of these. Coming from the Lowveld, you see them almost on a daily basis. Here you can sometimes go weeks without seeing these little guys, and we are quite some distance away, probably around 100 meters. Luckily we've got amazing zoom on these cameras, because anything closer than that, and you can actually see how they're constantly looking over their shoulder, and if we had to go closer now, they'll actually move away. With the baboons, they always have that guilty conscience where when they see someone has spotted them, they know they need to move away because somewhere in their life they stole something from them. But yeah, you can see they're sitting, enjoying that shepherd's tree at the moment. Nice and cool underneath, and also in the tree itself. There's a lovely breeze coming through there also. And yeah, every now and again you can just hear an alarm call, and that would be for us. So Learn Ranger just asked a question, what do the baboons feed on in the Kalahari? Now, okay, buddy, there is some fruits available. So we have like the tama melon and the wild cucumber, especially during summertime, which they will feed on as more as a source of water. There's quite a lot of water in those little melons. But then also mainly what these guys would focus on now at this time of the year is trying to get to like sites where there's been aardvark activity, digging for termites, where they can also start eating from that termite. So quite a bit of insects. They'll also eat things like maybe little beetles and so on, and then a lot of the seeds. So like one of our big trees that we have in the area, camel thorn, the common camel thorn, they've got these big grey seed pods, which keeps the seeds inside for quite some time, and good. And those are very, very nutritional. We also have smaller bushes around here called raisin bushes, which actually makes a little seed-like object or a little fruity thingy that when it gets ripe and falls off the tree, it actually looks like a little raisin, and they love eating that. During summertime, you find their dung balls being covered in those little raisins of the raisin bush. So mainly those two types, the seed pods of the trees in this area, and then also those little raisins that they can find. But during this time of the year, mainly it's going to be insects, for protein. And then the camel thorn seed pods is going to be a very big source of food for them. They are quite smart though, so with us having the lodges in the reserve, they'll always try and get something there, but we are trying our best not to have them do that.
So we are actually looking at these two lionesses, and they are stalking something on the right hand side. You can see how this lioness is sitting down, but she's looking with her head down low, and the other vehicle just signaled to us that there is something up ahead. We don't know for sure what it is. It could be Ngalas or something like that, but there's like a little bit of a thicket just to the right of that lioness there. So we are just waiting to see what they're going to do. You'll see that she's not moving, so she's obviously waiting for the prey animal to move. You can see her ears pointing forward, listening intently at what's going on in front of her. A little bird that just flew through the frame there. It's almost like she's inching closer. Look at that. Alright. two young lionesses are quite inexperienced, but they have left the pride for quite a while. They've been on their own now. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Look at that. You can see the concentration not moving around too much. See how her body is moving. It's almost like she's positioning herself to just get off of the spot very quickly. Oh, look at that. Look. She's trying to make herself as small as possible. She's about to go. Okay, there she's actually going back to the road now. Look how she's making herself as small as possible. Oh my goodness. Oh, she's coming this way. Here she comes. Coming right past the vehicle here. She can obviously see what she's trying to stalk. Okay. So remember, there's two lionesses, so the other one's just on the other side. They're going to try and chase this, whatever it is, to each other. Just see the movement in the bushes there. I'm not going to move the vehicle. We don't want to affect this hunt at all. Just sit and listen. Listening for any alarm calls or anything like that. Quite a nice dense area, and I think whether it's Nyalas or impalas, they're probably coming to these denser areas while the wind is blowing like this. Because the wind takes away from their sense of smell and hearing. They can only smell and hear what the wind is bringing with it. So around these bushes, their senses are a little bit stronger, except for obviously seeing around them too much. There's a lioness that just came out now. Oh, she's calling. See how she's smelling the ground. I think whatever they were hunting is probably gone. Here comes the other one. Oh, look at that. I think they probably missed. They're still looking in that direction. Whatever it is, it didn't make a sound if it got away from them. I wonder if it maybe just slinked away without them even noticing. See how they're still looking and listening though. And then they walk down the road towards the other vehicle there that's in the sighting with us. I think we're gonna just stick around and see what they get up to.
We have dogs on Djuma. Now, I just have one, sorry. Oh, no, two. Another one's coming. They were on Torchwood and they've crossed. Now, I don't know what pack this is, I must say. I've only had a brief glimpse. Now, they're all over here. I'm going to go forward, Theo. Now, this is a perfect time for dogs to wake up. We've got one, and the rest are all over here. There you go, they're trotting everywhere. We're on the eastern boundary, Cheetah cut line. So as long as they stay on the western side of this cut line, we can stay with them. But we can't cross into Torchwood, I'm afraid. I wonder if they'll head to the dam for a drink. How exciting. Okay, Theo, we're just going to go forward a bit. I'm sure you're all very well aware how easy it is to lose dogs. I can see more over here. Now, I don't want to split the pack. That's why I'm driving really, really carefully. Now, they're all on the Torchwood side. I can only count two at the minute. Right, let's get ahead of them, Theo, and then we'll have a good look and try and get some IDs. They're going to stand on this termite mound right here.
Back to a beautiful cat, everyone. You can see how the head, the ear, one ear is already cut off. And probably she's going to deal with another one. Remember again, we're bringing this live on you from WildEarth Live. And sorry for the sensitive viewers. What is happening here? It's nature. This is how these cats survive. And it's the way of life for them. Somebody has to die for someone to survive. I'm so sorry about that. Look how she's gonna swallow the whole thing. Sometimes it's gone. No, it's probably not gone. She's gonna make sure she brings it back again. It's gone. Now it's completely gone. So every time they eat, looks like one of their last ear is gonna be also cut off. See how quickly it's been cut. So it's just because of that. These animals, they're designed with such a very sharp, it's called carnassial teeth, which is situated on the side of their bottom and top jaw on both sides. When she does that, she clip, and this is how the meat and the skin's been cut. We would need to sharpen our knife very nice to do that, but they're well given with their own, naturally, carnassial teeth to be able to do that. The ears is not actually easy part for anyone to go through, but if you listen to how she goes, it looks like a scissors, how that clip. But the poor head is already gone, it's already been damaged. So she will get dirty because of the blood that's coming out of that animal. But when she's done, she's probably gonna, I'm not sure, cover it up again with grass. Then she'll lick herself to get to clean the blood.
Everybody's coming. Everybody's here. We've got 4. Oh, I can only count 3 now. I maybe imagined 2, everyone. That is very possible. Or the other 2 could just be behind the thicket here. So they haven't quite decided what they're doing yet. They're just trotting. I think they're listening. Which direction shall we go? What do they hear? What's happening? And then slowly they'll all congregate together. Yes, they're crossing into Djuma. Now, we're not too far away, I believe, from Tlalamba. We're also... Yep, there's more coming. They're all coming from the Torchwood side now. One, 2, 3... They're not all following one another. They're all very much separate. If anyone can identify this pack, please do let me know. Some of you are incredible at identifying the wild dogs. Okay, let's go up. I think we're going to stick to the... Oh, no, it's crossing over. I was going to stick to the one on the road. There's another one coming as well. So we've got 5 in total so far, and they're off. They're off on a mission. Are you ready, Theo? We're going to follow this one here. A stationary flat wild dog sighting is luxury. And this is the perfect time for them to hunt. The sun's going down, it's cooler. They'll definitely make a hunt tonight. You were asking... Oh, they're right at the Tlalamba sighting. Oh, my goodness. Tlalamba's there. Okay. I'm on the cut line, so it's okay, but they're right where Tlalamba is. But I don't think they'll be interested in her kill. Normally, they don't scavenge.
Beautiful, back in this scene. There's a dog. This is the dogs coming in, guys, to this scene where the Tlalamba, now she ran. And they're busy chasing after her. See how she get up, 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 get up. Ah, she's up in a tree, thank God. She's up in a tree. Oh, they were so close. So this is what, guys, happening. We're talking about, but they haven't yet discovered what, but they'll probably smell where the meat is once they does that. They're not actually not well known of a scavenger, but a hungry dog could do that sometimes. Let's see what happened. They're getting around in his kill because they already saw it. Look at that. Let's see what happened here. Oh, no, yeah, I see. Once they get around here, this is going to be all done immediately because these guys are ferocious. They feed very strongly. And for that, to compete, which they don't take turns, as you can see, they're already trying to drag that things away, the carcass. Sorry everyone, I'm gonna just reverse just to get a glimpse of what these dogs doing. Come on. Definitely you see they're in packs. If that leopard was delayed to get up in that tree there, of course will be caught and the rest of them they will be running into that. It's still a young leopard, remember. Will be, I think, completing 3 years in November, if I remember correct, that young leopard. So definitely maybe it will be a serious injury for that leopard. See how many dogs are here already. See, I was talking about the intestine is out. That was making the whole impalas coming heavy for that leopard to put up in a tree. I think that was the case. How's this on Earth happening? Right here, right now, on WildEarth Live. Again, for the sensitive viewers, we're so sorry what happened here, unexpected. It happens. The dogs just vanished or approached the scene where that leopard was lied her food, and then now the food is gone because it was on the ground. We talked about a little bit about that earlier, that sometimes they lost their kill just because of that not being put up in a tree. See, one dog's got a collar in there. It's probably one of the research they're doing in his packs. I'm not sure which packs is this for sure. So there you can see there is no order in terms of feeding. So everyone get as much as they can. And then there will be nothing left. It will be just going to be a bone. It's the same thing when they got impala. These guys, when they kill impala, whatever they kill, many times that animal die hard because of maybe is no meat finally on that animal, and they don't suffocate. I mean, they just go wherever they can, just wrap off a part, and animal die of losing blood many of the time. So these wild dogs, I think they were in Torchwood the whole day. For them to be able to start to get up, looks like they've been lying in there for a long time. But it was a short notice that is a dog around here. Just saw one coming in and we're not sure. I know Lauren had some of them close to Garryman there along that boundary, but could be the same. I think it's the same packs. Since they get in there, you would imagine that a lot of meat that was in that impala. But now, see, it's getting finished. Now they're busy with, we were talking about how voracious they are when they eat. See how they don't care, they just rip it apart. They might actually leave a little bit, or maybe just a bone, so that maybe the leopard will come and have a little bit of what is left. But it won't be much then, otherwise the hyena later on, they're probably going to investigate the area. It's going to be a more serious problem that's going to be happening here at night. Even though then will be a much or little left for that leopard. Sure. So, Tati, well, hyena, of course, they slightly far too big compared to the dogs, to wild dogs. And in terms of feeding, it's the same thing. There's no order. So whoever got the right place, they do the same what is happening here. The bunch of hyena when they get into a kill. But it's so these dogs are so small, and they're not actually related to a hyena at all. There's a system, I understand, that of a pair breeder, which also happened to hyena as well, but they're not actually same family. These are Canidae dog, and Hyenidae are Hyenidae. That's why now the separation come from. But they're all predators. The killing is the same. Hyena also can hunt successfully, but they're well known of as stealing from another quite often, rather than hunting, but they can hunt as well. But these guys are more successful in terms of hunting. Stealing, it happened because when the meat is available, of course everyone's hungry, then they have to. And they knew that it was a weaker cat, single cat, that leopard, and it ran away. And it was a good advantage of them going into this meat and finish it off. But if it was a lions, there was no chance of these dogs coming any near around here. They'll be already vanished, gone. Look, one is going to run around with a piece of bone. It's the one with the collar. Look at their color. Sun is setting soon, so just a little bit of the light that is still penetrating through. You can see a bit of a beauty about them. It was not timing, but I don't think it takes any 15 minutes to get these things down, these guys. They're so quick. Because there are more than one, so, and that's how they hunt. They hunt in packs. Kill sharing. All of them feed. Interesting things when they have puppies. They would feed even the puppies around, but the puppies in turn, they would expect the parents to regurgitate for them to eat, even though they were participating in that little bit of a meat also in the same scene. But when the meat is done, they'll be squealing a lot for the parents to throw out the meat for them to eat, which is it's more interesting.
These two young lionesses kept on walking down the road and then started stalking some more, and we heard an alarm call of an Ngala. So heard the loud bark. Look at that yawn there. Oh, look at those teeth, eh? Well, she's yawned a few times now, so quite possibly not too keen to settle down just yet. Oxygenating those muscles, ready to move possibly soon. So it was definitely Nyalas that they were stalking, because we heard that bark. There we go, another yawn. Looking over to sister. Another yawn. Looking over to sister.
Beautiful, the dogs still here. You can see how they're still enjoying their meal. Just a little bit of the bone. It's not much left. Everyone. So there's nothing like really much left. Look at these guys' ears. Looks like they're vampire. You know, they're also beautiful. Dogs. Look at their color as well. But I've seen a lot of males in these packs than a female. So, like I said, I'm not sure which packs is this with the collared. But I'll probably find out later tonight, maybe. So interesting to hear this. Thank you so much. Well, it makes sense. Pungo is not far away from here. Just another boundary. It's Nyeleti Game Reserve. That separates Sabi sands in between. And there's no fence between us, so possibly they run around these guys, then that's how they hunt. But killing, that's how they do. So they will mainly hunt impalas, they will mainly hunt waterbuck, kudus, big antelopes, because they're together like this, they can do much better, they can do more. Deer watcher, it depends. But when they're full, they mainly lie down when they're full. But if they're going to run around again, it means that they didn't have much. Of course, they will be definitely interested in hunting. For them, hunting is the key of life. And all they do, they have a sense of speed, which allows them to keep up with the prey for such a long time, not to give up in terms of chasing up the prey. Some of the prey die off, probably maybe tired or fell off, and these guys just finish when they arrive. Clever enough of the prey species such as kudus, impalas, when there's the water nearby, that's how they run into water for survival. But you can see how these dogs surround that little water hole. If it's a little water hole, they will even wait for that antelope to come out of the water. If it doesn't, then eventually they will probably spend time there, wait for that animal to get out of the water. But of course, for them, killing, twice, sometimes 3 times a day, depend how big a perch it is. Look at this.
So that collar was put on it was put on the industry. So it'll last, generally, there is a thing in the research.
Wasn't that absolutely incredible? Andrew's now got the dogs, I've now got the leopard. It's 2 separate sightings now. Kalamba's moved off, not too far away, to be honest. She knows the dogs are not really going to come for her, and she also knows there was no point in staying there. She must run, and she did. And she looks a little bit, well, she's not a happy chappy, shall we say. Kalamba girl, you should have hoisted that. She's panting. She must be exhausted. She went up a marula tree and she's came back down. So she's obviously not in the mood for trees today. She didn't hoist that impala last night or this morning whenever she made the kill. And she's not stayed up the tree. So she's not too scared of the dogs. I would say they're just a little over 100 meters away. Maybe 200. Wasn't that crazy? I did not think the dogs would go for that. I love it when nature proves you wrong. Oh, she's panting. She looks just like a mother when she's got her huffy face on. Poor Kalamba. Let's hope the dogs don't come this way.
So guys, a little less action than what you just saw, but look at how cute this little guy is. This is called a bat-eared fox, part of the canine family, and probably if you had to compare it to something back home, if you know a toy pomeroy, or they also call it a Pomeranian, think of that with huge ears and a long fluffy tail. So with the bat-eared foxes, as you can see, those ears are huge. They're quite fluffy as well. Not the ears, the fox itself, but those ears are what is most important for them. They use that to actually listen for beetles and little scorpions and so on that is moving underneath the surface of the earth, so in the ground. And then when they hear that, they'll actually start digging and get to wherever that little guy is hiding, and then they'll eat that. As I just explained, dominating aspect of their diet is insects. You will find them eating little barking geckos and that little rock agama, ground agama that we saw earlier, if they're fast enough to catch it. But the diet mainly consists of insects, which at this time of the year will primarily be, just like the baboons earlier, termites, but they would love getting a little scorpion or anything like that. There's also something that we call a solifuge. So the other name for it is a sun spider. So it's not part of the spider family. It does have 8 appendages though, basically 8 legs, but they don't have a segmented body. So also no venom glands or no silk glands. Quite a scary little guy. But these bat-eared foxes, they love them. And typical to see them late afternoon, just baking in the sun a little bit before they start getting active during the night. They are primarily nocturnal when it comes to summertime. Wintertime here in the Kalahari is freezing cold during the night, so then you find them actually being a little bit more active during the daytime. But he's just slowly waking up, enjoying the last little bit of sunlight. And then as soon as the sun goes down, they'll probably start getting active and looking for something to eat. Typically this time of the year, you see them either one like this, or you find them in pairs. So maybe this one is a previous, pup that was just pushed out by their parents. Normally during about June, July is when the adult dogs or adult foxes will push away the previous litter and then make ready to mate and have the next set of puppies. You can see he just got a little warm now in the sun. It is quite a warm day today. So maybe he's just moved around to the shady spots. But yeah, guys, very, very cute. That fluffy coat of theirs, they'll most likely start shedding now. And so getting a little shorter coat for summertime.
Beautiful. See what now is left. It's just the ribs and the dogs. It's just 3 dogs that's still running around here. And some of them already run south from where they came from. But we still got 3 around here, busy finishing off. Last bit of the chunk that was falling apart when they were busy wrapping it off. How beautiful it is. So, just gonna move forward. Sorry folks, I'm gonna move a little forward, see if get a better view. This is where they're stolen it from. Oh, they're gonna run now. We're gonna stick with them. Gonna get around. Get to see if we can see them again right now.
Good luck, Andrew. It's not easy keeping up with the wild dogs for sure. She's looking. She knows they're on the move. I don't see them. I don't even hear them. So possibly they're moving in a different direction. I can't believe how that afternoon just turned on its head. But this regularly happens to leopards. It's normally hyenas or even lions that steal their kill. She's going to go back. I think she knows they've gone. Surely not, Kalamba, surely not. That's exactly what Tandy did not so long ago. Went back to see if there was any remains left, because it's hers after all. She is heading back. She'll go for a little sniff and see if any wonderful delicacy's been left behind by the dogs. It's incredible. She knows they've gone. We're going to wait a little bit to move just because there's another vehicle here, so we're going to give them priority to move first. And then we'll follow her and see exactly what she does. Oh, well, that's what she does. We didn't need to wait very long for that. Thanks, Kalamba. She's gone flat. Isn't that wonderful? Obviously comfier grass over on the other side. So I'm just going to let Aubrey reposition, and once he repositions, we'll try and get a little bit closer to her. But I don't think the princess is in the best of moods, to say the least. That's the first time that I have seen wild dogs scavenge like that. I've seen leopards scavenge of dogs. I've seen lions scavenge, but I've never seen the dogs take something like that. Every predator is opportunistic. Every single predator. Okay, I think it's safe for us to move now. Okay, we're going to try and get a little bit closer to our grumpy princess.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So we're back here at this. Guess what dam is this? Well, it's one of, most famous dam, in Ndlovu Dam. So we're just back here. We just watched a beautiful sunset going down. We're just waiting here to see what comes and, drink. It's not all the time that we in the bush, yes, but it's not all the time that you're going to have, all the time the wildlife. But these are the perfect moment for one to just like sit quietly and watch and listen to the amazing sound of bush. Maybe you never know. Maybe that's when, whilst waiting, you can get something really, really exciting. And coming to drink. Oh, look there. We have a nice dove. Can we zoom in a bit so we see? Yeah. Okay. Ah, nice there. So it looks like one of the dove. I'm not really sure. I think it's a ring-necked dove. One of the most common dove here, but very, very beautiful piece of bird to just watch. One thing that you find about like dove that I find very, very, very interesting is that when drinking, they don't have to have a sip and then turn their heads up and then go down you find like maybe with chickens. If you have a chicken or a rooster, and most of the time when drinking, its head get a sip and then lift up their head up and then let the water goes in and then back again down. So I found that really, really nice. If you can hear at the background, there's some crested francolin as well, calling. So we are just gonna hi Davi. So these are almost especially in this area at Prideland, this is the perfect time being around Ndlovu Dam, because I know there's always something happening. So definitely late afternoon, like, around this time, that's when lots of animals like start to come in around the water hole and drink. And you also get also nocturnal stuff, so animals that are active at night comes and drink water. Or if you hear just right here on top of this leadwood here, there's a arrow-marked babbler, making more or less contact call and a chorus for the last day, calling his mate. So we're just gonna sit around here in this Ndlovu dam. I'm hoping that something really, really amazing will come and show up and drink.
All right, guys, probably one of my favorite antelope of the Kalahari, the gemsbok, or previously known as the oryx. Stunning, stunning animals. I love those straight horns of theirs. But it is properly baby season. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you this one, but there's, in the bush just to the left of where these oryx are standing, there's a small calf, probably, I want to say, a day old, if it is that long. That is hidden in here. We just saw the ears flapping, and then he went laying down again, he or she. So we actually were hoping that he was going to follow mom. But this time of the year is typical time for the oryx to have little ones. They don't have a particular breeding season, so they'll have their babies all year long. But during this time of the year is normally when you'll actually find the most calves dropping with the oryx. So quite cool. It is just in the beginning of spring, so they would want to give birth now as soon as the rains start falling. So hopefully the rains are not too far away for this little guy. That would be great, because then mom's milk is going to be good and he's going to get a kickstart to life. But yeah, just always a pleasure seeing these oryx, even the adult ones. And that is just, I just love them.
These two young lionesses have given up on the area that they were hunting in, and they seem to be on the move. There's one lying down in the road here, and the other one is actually walking over this big open plain here in front of us. Hey, you can just see her. And she's actually smelling something. Let's see, she's picked up a scent there. They've been stopping every now and then and smelling some scent on the ground, maybe some previous lions coming through the area. Bit of a yawn there as she's walking. And these two are two young lionesses. Oh, see how she just stops and listens and looks every now and then. There was quite a few impala earlier and they all ran off. Look how she's actually looking back now. Probably waiting for sister. Yeah, look at that. Just as she stopped and looked back, the sister got up and is also on the move. Wow, what a beautiful setting, having these lions walking through this open clearing. You can see how skinny they are, those hip bones sticking out a little bit there in the back, and their stomach's not hanging low at all. You can see they're nice and slender. And they're very, very keen to stick together. Obviously very strong bonds coming from the same litter and always hunting together. Looks like they are heading to the thicket on the left and the right hand side there. And I think they are heading into those thickets there because there's a better chance of them maybe catching something in those thickets, rather than walking and trying to hunt in the open. She's actually looking back towards us, listening to something on the side. Look at the sister waiting for her as well. And there they go, straight towards that thick area. You can see the bigger trees there in the background as well. See how they stop and listen. There's a bit of a stretch there. And yeah, there they are, just about to disappear now. And I think we are...
You will not believe what just happened, everyone. Kalamba went back to the kill, ran, and new leopards came. This is a different leopard. And she's stolen the kill. I think this is Nsele. Aubrey. I cannot believe this. We've got a different leopard stolen Kalamba's kill. I think it's Nsele. She's got one eye. Look at this.
Okay, coming.
Nicely done, Theo. Did you hear that landing? It's Nsele. Wow, there's not much left. There's just the skin. The rib cage is back there. Kalamba ran. She's really not having a good day. What a shame. In fact, she's having one of the worst days I can actually think of in quite a long time. Yes, this is Nsele. I've been waiting to see this leopardess. She's a much older leopardess. I think you managed to see her with David Hancock not so long ago. James Hendry and I and Davi spotted her in Zimbabwe. Now you can see that she's older if you look at the sort of saggy skin under the tummy. Now I'm pretty sure it's her. Really easy to recognize by the one eye. It's Nsele. Yeah, one eye. Sorry, I'm just letting Aubrey know because everyone's very confused about what's happening right now because of the madness, shall we say. Wow. And there's really not much meat left there. She's just going for it. She tried to climb the tree. I'm not sure why she came back down again. But Nsele's mother is the same mother as Tiani. And she was born in 2009, so she's 11 years old, give or take. I have no idea where Kalamba went. This is madness. Now, Nsele actually means ruthless or no sympathy. And I think that's quite ironic, given her eye. She is ruthless. We don't know what happened to her eye, or at least I don't know. But she's survived and she's thriving. As most animals do, they just adapt. She still has one working eye, her left eye. She can still see. Her vision is, of course, compromised, but then she'll rely heavily on her other senses. Wow. She's gorgeous, though. She's absolutely beautiful. She must have heard the commotion. I think her pattern's a lot darker than Kalamba's. I don't know if I'm the only person that thinks that. But the carcass is still back there. I wish I had more eyes or more vehicles to see who comes back to the carcass. Of course, the dogs took it apart, but there's still a little bit left on that rib cage. It doesn't look too delicious. In fact, it doesn't look delicious at all. Dogs And 2 leopardesses, not bad. Now, Nsele appears to be becoming nomadic. We don't quite understand her territory. I study the leopard's territories a lot, and I really don't understand where she fits in. Her movements, we found her over in Simbambili, and then she crossed into Buffelshoek, then she crossed back west to Arathusa, and she's now on Djuma, very, very east of Djuma, almost at Torchwood. Now, that's quite a big area for a leopardess, and I think her movements are just becoming really, really nomadic because she's getting older. So I really can't say exactly what Nsele's territory is. Her name is spelled Nsele for any of you who maybe haven't met her before. This is only my 2nd time seeing her. Now, Kalamba's going to be in a huge huff now. She's going to be sulking in Buffelshoek now, I think. Now, there really can't be much nutrition left from the skin. It obviously tastes good by the looks of things. Emily, that's a great question, because many people ask, how do any animals clean their teeth? And there's a rule, and it's actually from homeopathy, and it says like cures like. And basically, animals' teeth get cleaned. The material in your teeth is very close to bone. It's very similar to bone. So when they crunch bones, it actually cleans their teeth. Now, their teeth are
I'm stopping for short break.
Sorry. Oh, enjoy your champagne. The teeth are not as closely packed together as humans are. There's gaps in between, which means the food don't really get stuck. But if anything was to get stuck, they'll just crunch through some bone or gnaw on something, and that's normally the perfect method for cleaning their teeth. And of course, they don't eat junk like we do. So they don't get cavities or plaque or any awful things that humans do. But like cures like. It's a perfect saying. And of course, as a leopard gets older, the teeth do chip. If you look at Tandy, you can see that she's an older leopardess purely just by looking at her teeth. They're chipped, they're yellow. They live much shorter lives than us as well. That's one thing to take into consideration, that they don't live as long as humans do, and therefore their teeth don't wear down so much in their short lifespan. Wow. I'm not sure Kalamba's going to come back to Djuma for a while now. It was a pretty traumatic experience, but this leopardess is nervous. I don't know why she jumped down from the marula, but she knows there's another leopardess in the area, and she probably knows there's dogs. It was getting a little bit too dark now for dogs, but she knows she can't get too relaxed, and she can't just assume that nothing is going to come. But wow, what an incredible drive. I was just saying I missed the leopards, and I managed to see 2, and dogs. But this leopardess is something special. She really is. And I'm hoping that we can track her movements a little bit more to try and understand exactly where she fits in. Is she completely nomadic? Or does she have a territory that's just shifting? That's also a possibility. Territories are not static, they're not stationary, they're not fixed, they move, they're dynamic, they're fluid. So she could, of course, just be shifting. Oh, wow, what an afternoon drive. Well, Kalamba's not going to be around this morning, but I can tell you that we will be around tomorrow morning. So thank you for all your comments and questions. Please do join us again in the morning. It's a pleasure having you on board.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
A warm welcome to all our viewers at a beautiful day here at andBeyond in Ngala. And we're currently watching a hyena lying down on the bank of the big Timbavati River. So I want to encourage all our viewers, come jump on this